I want you to listen to this message like it's the last message you'll ever hear. I want you to listen to this message like it's the most important thing you're ever going to hear, because it is. God's going to use your pain. The stuff you're going through right now, you're not going through it just to go through it. You're going through it because 1,000 years ago, before your ancestors were even thought of, God knew how valuable to the kingdom of heaven you were going to be. God knew how much potential He was going to give you. God knew exactly who you were going to be. But God gave you tests. God gave you trials and tribulations. God gave you stuff to go through to say, okay, I have all this in store for Adam, but if he can't get through this, then he's not going to get it. Because God already knows who's entering heaven and hell. God already knows what you're going to do today and tomorrow. I think of the Tower of Babel when, they were building up the tower, and then God told them get down, but they didn't. They refused to, and God spread them apart throughout all the nations, blah, 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 and they began speaking in different languages. But the only family that still had a relationship with God was the family of Abraham. Now, Jesus is the descendant of Abraham. Now, that's just my theory, but think about it. If Jesus is a descendant of Abraham, Jesus is the chosen one, and Abraham's family was still faithful to God, and they were the only people that had a relationship with God, all those other people didn't go through all of that confusion, all of that misery for something great not to come out of it, because Jesus came out of it. So with all that being said, pain you're going through right now is not comprehensible to the reward you will get for going through it, for pursuing it. You could either stay faithful and trust God and allow Him to put you through this stuff and surrender to Him, or you could choose to go through it and fall and just allow it to take over you. John 13:7, Jesus says, "For you may not understand now, but later you will." See, right now you don't understand why God's putting you through this stuff, but later you will. Because you're going to reach certain people with the same stuff that you struggled with. That's probably why God's giving you this test, this trial, this tribulation. Because He is sending people your way that are going through the same thing you're going through, and you are going to be there to help them. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verses 10 through 11 says, "As for me, I stayed on the mountain in the Lord's presence for 40 days and nights, as I had done the first time. And once again, the Lord listened to my pleas and agreed not to destroy you." Here's verse 11. This is where it gets spicy. Listen to it. "Then the Lord said to me, get up and resume the journey and lead the people to the land I swore to give to their ancestors so they may take possession of it." So get up and resume your journey. You're going to go through a season where you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what to say. You're not going to hear God's voice. You might fall into laziness, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, God's like, okay, get up. It's time to get back at it. So your season's not going to be every day. Every day is not going to be a great day. But if you're still blessed, if you have a roof over your head and God's blessing, if you still have food in your stomach and a loving family, then that's all you need. God's going to use your pain for the future. God's going to use your pain in ways that you wouldn't even comprehend. Not because you're special or not because you're the chosen one, but because He loves you. But because no matter what you do, it's not going to stop Him from loving you. It's not going to stop His plan. So surrender to God and allow Him to use you, because I promise you He loves you and He's going to use your pain.